be a thing called Smoker's Corner, which was at the bottom of the, you used to have this 2-2 miniature range, and it was the only place that you could actually go round and sort of smoke without the, and give you fair warning of any masters or sort of prefects coming across. And George was very much a habitué of the sort of Smoker's Corner. I think he started off on Woodbines, and then we got exotic onto things like Passing Clouds and sort of Capstan Full Strength and things. It was sad in a way because all right, advertising was there, and sort of no smoking was cool. No one told us it was going to harm your health, and obviously it had a long-term effect upon him. But there's a guy called Ian Taylor who's in the Old Boys, sort of, was also at Dovedale with George, and was quite a great friend of his too. And he said if they're always going on at the Institute about putting some form of memorial plaque up there, but as he didn't actually like the school itself, they reckon that Smoker's Corner would be the best place to put it, and that he'd have a sort of wry grin at that particular one. But certainly George, it wasn't just a place where you went and smoked, but there was more talk and ideas, and people's experiences were shared in that smoky corner than in many other places in the school. We looked at, had a good look out for masters and prefects coming across the yard, and you had about a sort of 75 yards of thing there, until one day they got cute. I think it was a guy, it was a master called Frank Boot, who was well known because he'd quite a few times put a plimsoll across George's backside when he misbehaved, and George actually presented one of his plimsolls to him when he left the school, because he said to Frank, you've had more use out of this than I have. But Frank was quite cute, and he'd been in the military during the war, and he decided that instead of coming across the yard, they'd come up the outside of the school railings opposite the cathedral. And the first thing we knew was actually when Frank Boot was staring through the railings at us, and we were about 10 feet away, all puffing away and trying to get rid of these fags like mad. But Frank couldn't get in, so we all legged it, and we actually did get away with it. Yeah.
Well, I never had the privilege of meeting George Harrison, but for the generation of Bertie and myself, we grew up with the Beatles. You know, their music and the band, the personalities of the band were the background to our lives. And I think people will be very sad at his death. And I think it's worth pointing out that he wasn't just a great musician and artist, but he did an immense amount for charity as well. And so he will be very, very sadly missed by people right around the world.
I'm very sad, devastated. We've known he's been ill for a long time, and just very sad to hear that he's passed on. I've spoken to Olivia, and she's been very strong. And I'd like to ask people maybe to be very kind to her and Danny at this time, George's son. He's a lovely man. I love him dearly. I grew up with him, and I like to remember all the great times we had together in Liverpool and with the Beatles, and ever since, really. Say I'm very sad for him and his family and for all of us. He's a fantastic guy, lovely man, great sense of humor. I was lucky enough to see him a couple of weeks ago, and he was still laughing and joking. Very brave man, and I'm just privileged to have known him, and I love him like he's my brother. It was a very sad day for me and for a lot of other people, but I think he would have wanted us, to get on and be loving and remember him as the great man he was.
So George, this must be a very sad day for you, but how would you like to pay tribute to George Harrison?
It's been an awful shock today, because, I mean, we've known it's been coming for a long while, but it still doesn't prepare you for the day when it actually happens. George is a wonderful man and a fine musician, but most importantly, I think he was a very loving person, full of humour, and I don't think he really wanted to be a famous person. I think he wanted to do his own stuff by himself. And fortunately, he had, in Olivia and Danny, he had a wonderful family, and my thoughts are with them right now, because they've looked after him. Olivia saved his life when he was attacked in Henley, there's no doubt about that. And since he contracted cancer, she's borne wonderfully and borne him up and given him courage through his time. And so has Danny. Danny's been a wonderful son. So they're great people, and my heart goes out to them.
We pray for his soul to Lord Krishna, that he should give all the blessings for departed soul, and also pray to give strength to his aggrieved family, his wife and his son and other family members and friends.
In his honor and for his spiritual upliftment, we are doing prayers to Lord Sri Krishna so that Krishna can give him his transcendental, loving devotional service.
George Harrison leaving this planet is a great loss to the music world, but also for devotees, and especially for me, because I was very inspired by his music, and he was also responsible for me to come to spiritual life through his wonderful spiritual music, especially the album that he made, which is the Radha Krishna Temple, which has very beautiful compositions of devotional songs.
George, I think his music will live on forever, and his personality. He's a very strong, loving man, but he didn't suffer fools gladly, as anyone who knew him will know. And he's a great man. I think he'll be remembered as a great man in his own right.
If George was still alive today, he would probably want to have one more great peak musically. Either another band or some record that he would make that would be different to everything else he's done before, or even making a movie that causes everybody to stand on and say, wow, George Harrison made that. Unfortunately for George, his path was not what everybody expected it to be. And this is to do with his spiritual path, where he was trying to learn what he was here to learn spiritually. So it showed that his spiritual being wasn't meant to be here for long, because no matter what he did to himself physically and what help he got, his spirit was ready to leave.
It's all down to the individual, you know, what you can manifest within yourself as to the value of anything. Really, the whole of life should be a spiritual experience, because we are spirits who are just encased in bodies. People forget that and think they're just this body, but we're actually spirits in bodies.
Words of love you whisper soft and true. Darling, I love you.